What's happening, Gaming Outsiders? On this week's episode, I wanted to know what all of you would take back in time to your younger selves to blow their minds about what the future of video games will look like. In news, we have a release date for the Last of Us HBO series, and guess what? Gears of War is coming to the screen as well. As far as new games, you finally get to hear Zach's impression of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and I got my hands on the latest gaming earbuds from EPOS. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. It's Tuesday, November 7th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining are my good friends, Mr. Zach Parkerson.
Oh, it's nice to hear your voice, Scott.
Well, thank you. And Alyssa White.
Hi.
Thank you both so much for being here. If this is your first time listening to the episode, we are so happy that you were here joining us. The Gaming Outsider is an awesome podcast, although I'm a little biased. But we're here to talk about video games, what we've been playing, some news, as well as a weekly topic. Looking forward to that. But before we get into that stuff, I got to give some shout-outs. I was at an Extra Life event up in Milwaukee this past week with the guys from the EXP cast, Stoy, Dan, Josh, and Pat. It was a really good seeing those guys. It felt good to get together and do that, because it's the first time since the pandemic that we were able to, all be in a room together and not be worried about COVID and all that. So it was
Wow.
great. Got a lot of gaming done, and we raised some money for the kids, which was very cool. And I got to give some shout out to people from our community that helped contribute. I was able to raise about $625 for the Children's Hospital, and that was awesome. That's all thanks to the following people: Mr. Kevin Honigford, Josh Steima, Angela Wallach, Brent Murray, Christina Flores, Edwin Smith, Paul Hine, the Colburn crew. That is actually a family from my school. One of my former students donated, which was pretty cool. Ethan Langford, Jennifer Kale, and Gamer Knight 45. Really appreciate it. Had a good time. I got to tell you guys some things we did. I spent the majority of the day playing Grandia 2.
I was going to say, what was a big game of the night? And apparently a 90s JRPG.
Well, that was for me because I'm trying to barrel through that game so I can do a Patreon episode with Kevin, because we're doing another trade-off episode. He's playing a Robotrek, and I am playing Grandia 2. It's his favorite JRPG of all time. Actually, it might be his favorite game of all time. And it's a long game. It's a good 30-something hours, and I haven't played a 30-something hour game in quite a while. So
Doesn't have Sonic in the title at all.
I was about to say, it's not Sonic.
Right? I know.
Oh, no.
Maybe Sonic 2 is his favorite. I'll have to double check that. But anyway, the EXP guys do a good job of doing all kinds of little fun side-off games. They do something called the What Bucket Challenge, where they have a bucket of random games in there that are notoriously terrible games. I know there's no such thing, but you get my drift. And if you draw a game out, and then you have to play that game for a solid hour.
Oof.
And if you do, you win a prize. There are games like the last time we had it, I played Superman 64.
Oh, that's
for an
not
hour.
Bad. Come on, you probably
Superman
didn't get past the tutorial in an hour.
No, I got past the part with the tornadoes. There's these tornadoes that you have to blow with your breath, and then you have to go like into a dam. And I don't know. I was walking around on foot, and it was horrible.
Do you think that game is the reason why we still don't have Superman games?
Possibly.
It's like people just too afraid.
Maybe. There was a Superman game in the arcade when I was a kid that I thought was actually pretty rad. Like you would run around and punch people, and then there was flying sections where you're flying like almost like a shmup.
Oh, that's cool.
That was a cool game. But
Heat vision blast or something.
yeah, there was a heat vision blast. That was pretty cool. There was other challenges, and I went up with Spencer, by the way, Spencer from our team. And one of the challenges was to play a racing game with a buddy, but one of you the person playing the game had to be blindfolded, while the other person had to give them directions verbally. There's a pretty funny video and pictures of me with I put my sweatshirt on backwards and then just put the hood up while Spencer gave me directions. We were playing Hot Wheels Unleashed, and then we had to switch and do the same thing. We basically had to survive 3 laps, and that was pretty fun. So you got a prize for that. One of the challenges was relatively easy. It was to beat Shredder's Revenge with a co-op partner, which I had done before, but did it again with a new turtle. Got a prize for that.
Who were you stuck with this time?
Raphael.
Okay. I know you're a Leo guy, that's why I'm asking.
I am a Leo guy. I've played the game through with Leo, Donatello, I think April, and now Raph. So I got like two or three more to do to round it. No, I played through with Casey Jones as well. Game is still fun, but when you're trying to do it quickly, skipping cutscenes and come on, let's go. I want to get back to Grandia too, but did that, and then what else did I play? This was the best. Dan came up with a game called Kuko Rodeo. If you're familiar with most Zelda games, there are these chickens in the game that are called Kukos. And he made up this little game where you come out of the house, and he has a timer, like a stopwatch going, and you have to attack the chicken until the swarm of chickens comes in. And then once the swarm starts, he starts a timer, and then you have until you die. Timer goes until you die. So it's basically survive the onslaught of Kukos until you die. I took third in that competition, so I won a Zelda sword.
Which Zelda game?
It was Link's Awakening, the remake on Switch. So it wound up being easier than you thought. You just found a pattern. The rule was you had to keep the house in view of the screen. So you just basically did laps around the house, and it wound up. We realized that you could just kind of do that over and over and over and over again. So he made it once you hit a certain time, then you had to actually go inside the fenced area, and you were not allowed to leave the fenced area until you died. So wound up being like a minute 34 or something for third place.
Well, I think next year maybe do a 3D Zelda game. It might be a little more interesting because you could like run around Kakariko Village while you're getting pecked at and stuff.
Yeah, cool. Actually, that would probably make more sense. Like, because especially you could just put yourself in that fenced area.
Oh yeah,
bring a chicken over there, and then the rule is just stay in the fenced area, and that would actually probably be better. But it was kind of a clever idea. I thought that was
it's great.
Cool,
yeah,
so.
Or just play Skyrim, attack a chicken, and see how long you last until everybody in the village kills you.
Oh, they kill you for attacking a chicken?
Yes.
Oh,
in Skyrim they will.
Take animal defense seriously up there in the Tamriel.
That's pretty funny. So that was it was a great time. I think overall the event, I don't have a final number, but when I left, there were over 3,000, if not 4,000, that they had raised. So awesome event. Stoy does a really good job. He actually provides food for everybody. This really good barbecue. There was brisket and chicken, and somebody made tacos for everybody. It was just a lot of fun. And my favorite part of the whole thing was, you just come down in the basement, there's TVs everywhere. And everybody was playing. It felt like every genre was represented on some TV. There was JRPGs, there was shooters, there was old retro platformers. I mean, just everything was there. You just walk around and see somebody playing something random. It was pretty cool. So, the guy sitting next to me was playing. Is it Vermilion 2 or something? Vermintide 2.
Oh, okay.
Which I had never seen. That game looked pretty intense.
It's a Warhammer game, right?
I don't know. It looked like a medieval setting.
Yeah, I think it's Warhammer, not Warhammer 40K.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think so too.
Spencer was sitting next to me. He was playing Odyssey, or Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I thought Super Mario Odyssey. So you gotta specify.
That's why I did specify, because I realized, there's a Mario game named Spot.
Did it look pretty aggressively average while he was playing it?
There it is. There it is. I will say, watching him play that really made me want to get back into an Assassin's Creed game, because I skipped Valhalla outside of the hour that I played at the beginning. I just kind of miss doing those waypoints and clearing the map and doing that fun stuff. But I also hear that Valhalla is not assassin-y. It's very aggressive, and that's, I don't know.
Why don't you just wait for Mirage next year? I'm sure it'll still have checks.
Yeah, but I hear something happens at the end of that story that is pretty rad, and I could just YouTube it, I suppose, but...
Oh, I did. It is rad.
It is rad?
Well, as long as you're talking about the modern day stuff, because that's what I care about. It's cool. It ends cool.
I think you and I are in the minority of people that care about the modern day stuff.
I think it's
love that stuff.
I think as time goes on, more and more people are. I don't think they realize what they missed.
Maybe.
I think we're getting there.
Well, anyway, Grandia 2 is all I've been catching up on, because I'm about 20 hours into that game. I looked up online just to see how far I was, and the walkthrough that I saw had 4 parts, and I just finished part 3. So in theory, I should be in the final part, but I'm only 20 hours in, and I feel like it's actually shorter than 20 hours because, when you're at an event like that, there's a lot of idle time where the game's just sitting there, still keeping time. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I
Yeah.
feel like I've probably only done about 17 or 18, but anyway, we'll
think-
see.
There's a grand tradition of that era of JRPGs with a bunch of BS at the end. You have to get
is that
through.
what it
So
is?
I feel like that's true. Where you have to almost like Wind Waker, where you're like, hey, go get those 20 pieces of the Triforce real quick. I feel like there's always some kind of nonsense like that at the end of these games to make the length stretch out.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I'm not. It's a very. I'm not going to call it a chill JRPG because there's a lot of moving parts with it. But I haven't ever lost a character. Like like even in a battle, somebody falls and you got to pick them up with whatever their equivalent of a Phoenix Down is.
Right.
I've never had to do that. I've never lost a character, and I don't know if that's because I am, meticulously fighting every enemy that I come across instead of running past them. Every little encounter actually does a good amount of experience, so I feel like I'm keeping leveled up. But story is great. I don't know. Have you played that one, Zach?
No, I've never played a Grandia.
I haven't either. This is my first one, and I am digging it. It came with the collection of 1 and 2, so at some point I may dive into Grandia 1 just to see what that's all about too. They're completely different stories, so
Yeah, I don't even know what Grandia is about, to be honest.
I don't either.
it's a pretty cool story. It is, it's like a ragtag group of people that all come together because of reasons, but
Of course, yeah.
Ryudo
that's a JRPG, son. That's just necessary.
Yeah. Ryudo, the main character, is a mercenary. I can't remember what they call these mercenaries, but he's for hire, just doing things, and he gets hired by the church to transport this young girl that is a sister of this religion to somewhere, and things happen along the way. They pick up a young kid. They pick up this burly monster-looking dude named Mareg. He's a pretty cool character, and obviously they come across all these obstacles along the way. But it's getting pretty interesting. The religion aspect of it is kind of fascinating because there's a dark side of the religion and the bad, not in a Star Wars kind of way, but there's God and the devil is the parallel, but they're called something different.
Okay,
Valmar,
yeah.
I think, is God, Valmar is the bad god or whatever. But
Are you trying to fight? Are you trying to fight God?
no, not at this point. I am more or less collecting pieces of the god. Like each major boss battle, I feel like I'm fighting the eyes of Valmar, or the tongue of Valmar, or the arms of Valmar. I don't know if I am collecting them to build this god or something, but it's pretty cool. I just hit a major character moment. Someone that is related to one of the main characters was revealed. They've been kind of talking about him, alluding to this person, and he finally showed up in the obligatory, I'm way too underleveled for this fight and I'm supposed to lose it.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
You don't realize that until you're just getting your butt kicked and you're trying every trick in the book, but halfway through and everything that you do does literally no damage. So you're like, okay, I'm just supposed to lose this fight.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I remember Lost Odyssey had one of those, only you were supposed to win the fight.
You were supposed to win the fight? How did you win the fight?
I just remember me and a lot of people I knew at the time, there's a spot where you definitely give up on Lost Odyssey because the difficulty spike is so high, but
That's where I did, because I was
Yeah.
like, you got to go back and grind.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but like when you get there, it almost feels like you're supposed to lose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think
at
I
least
got
it
to
did
that
to me.
part too.
Yeah, see, everybody knows the part.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what I'm talking about when I mention the part of Lost
Mhm.
Odyssey.
They did do something interesting narratively, which you don't see happen in too many JRPGs, although Final Fantasy VII did this as well, but to a somewhat different effect. Like one of your party members just leaves the party and is replaced by a new character that you meet along the way, and that character's just like, I'm just going to stay here, and then you just leave and take this new character with you instead, which is kind of interesting. So
It is kind of interesting. So that character's arc is over, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming we'll have to run into this character again, or
Yeah. If so, that'd be kind of a very interesting thing to do with the story.
Mhm.
Like one guy's
It's
just like, actually, I'm good, man.
kind
Peacing
of
out.
yeah. That character has some responsibilities and just makes this decision. And everyone's like, oh, okay, well, deuces.
See you around, kid.
Yeah. So that's what I've been catching up on. Zach, what about you?
Well, I beat Gotham Knights. Boy, that ending is bad. It's very bad. You I guess I don't want to give anything away, but you know, it's just a lot of stuff happens at the end, but it happens in such a way like the character you're playing as basically has a narration where they're like, you know, the whole game is going up against a court of owls, right? And the end of the narration is like, the court's still out there. I'm like, wait, what do we do all that for? It doesn't really feel. It doesn't feel like you conclude any kind of narrative or nobody's character arc has ended or anything. It is yet another example of the fact that this game was 100% a live service game until I assumed the Avengers came out.
Yeah, I remember reading that in your review. I'll let you talk about the first week too.
I could feel your disappointment when I was reading your review, Zach, about those aspects.
Yeah, it was not a great conclusion. It's like almost like a Breath of the Wild ending where it just like takes all the wind out of the sails of the game. You're like, oh, that sucked. But the game was on a downward trend before that, so it's just you know, the plot just kind of becomes boring at a point. I liked like when I first talked about this on the show, I was really in the groove of the game because I liked the kind of like vigilante thing, going out at night and just patrolling and playing as the Bat family and stuff. But when it came to the main narrative, it wasn't super exciting, and you know, there's just way too many kind of cringy moments in the game where giving wet willies to each other and stuff. It was really, it's really weird. As I said in my review, it really felt more like a Ninja Turtles group than a Bat family group. It's hard to imagine a group of people raised by Bruce Wayne would be the pranking type. But,
No.
And I know you referenced Court of Owls in your review. Is this the big Court of Owls game that you know, when that got revealed? Is this the one, or is that the next one that is supposed to be the Court of Owls game?
This is the Court of Owls game, yeah.
And you made it sound like they just felt like any other.
Well, that's what by the very nature of a video game, right? Where you kind of, especially this kind of video game where you really just need an excuse to have enemies present. Yeah, they just kind of feel like, I don't know, a mercenary group. They don't feel like the Court of Owls from the comics or the animated movies or anything. They don't feel like this creepy shadow organization that's, you know, running the city from behind the scenes so effectively that Batman doesn't even think they exist. It just kind of feels like a bunch of dudes who, you know, like to blow stuff up in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Like they commit random crimes in the game. It doesn't really feel like, it doesn't feel like this shadow organization at all.
Yeah, but it sounds like you loved playing it. Like the actual playing of it was fun, right?
Yeah, well, I started to I got into it for sure. I mean, a lot of it is just goofy action RPG stuff, you know, like I don't care about any of the loot drops or loadout stuff or whatever, but the actual rhythm of going out in Gotham, beating people up, going back to your home base to rest for the night kind of thing, it played into my my fantasy of being a superhero. You know, it gave me the vibes that I wanted. It's just and I would even say that the side narratives, you know, like Mr. Freeze or Harley Quinn or a couple others, those were all a lot of fun and really cool takes on those villains as well. But just that main story, I think, kind of fumbles the bag.
That's too bad.
So as I said at the end of my review, it's kind of the perfect wait for a sale sort of game. But
I mean, Black Friday's right around the corner, so
yeah,
I have to imagine it'll be pretty discounted by then. Yeah. I could be wrong. Maybe it's selling like hotcakes out there. But yeah, it just it feels a little.
I've been hearing some positive reviews from people. One of the podcasts that I listen to, the guy said that he likes it so much that he's actually playing through it 4 times, once with each character, just because he's having so much fun playing it. And he just wants to see how each character does things. I know that's not how the game is designed to do, or designed to play. Like you're supposed to be able to switch whenever you want to. Whatever.
Yeah, you definitely can. I mean, you could also. I mean, there's cutscenes for each character, so it definitely benefits you to go through it 4 times, I guess, if you want to see all the dialogue and outcomes. But for me, it's just it's too modern AAA video game for me to want to do that.
Gotcha. Also, Stoy was playing this at Extra Life this week. He had it set up in the corner, and he was playing it. And he actually said, and I quote, "I don't care what Zach says. I love this game."
Wow. Okay. Which is, I don't feel like I was that negative, especially the
No,
first.
I know.
Like even my review, I think what did I give it 6.5? Like it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's certainly not a bad
game.
game.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the act of playing it. I just, as I say all the time, I don't care about any of these like modern game design elements that are so popular. So it's just kind of drags it down a little bit. But yeah, I like the game.
Well, did you cleanse your DC palette with some Marvel goodness, or?
Right. Yeah. This feels almost painful to say, but Marvel Snap, man. Oh my God, it's incredible. I know you guys talked about it.
I told you guys,
dude. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't listened to the episode last week. I'll admit, but dude, I've been playing Marvel Snap like crazy. I think I maxed out the or I'm almost to the max level in the like recruitment season pass or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, I can't stop playing this game.
That's what everybody's saying. And I talked about it last week, and I said I recommend it. But it's a game I'm not going to keep playing because I'm not a big CCG guy and I don't know the comic book characters, but I totally see the appeal. Like everybody's just like, this is like crack on your phone. Like it is.
It's just a smartly designed card game with the 3 lanes and the fact that they have like random, almost like Mario Party elements is how I'm thinking of it. Where like, really, it's almost more of a party game than it is a card game. It's way simpler than a card game, and with all the random effects that can happen, it feels a little chaotic in the way that a Mario Party game or Mario Kart game would be. Right. So it's just like a fun way, and the fact that matches only take like 3 or 4 minutes, man.
Yeah,
dude, it's just so easy to knock out a match. It's so much better than scrolling Twitter and seeing the world crumble around you. It's a nice way to spend a couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way I feel like I get into the TikTok hole every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
Where I'll open up TikTok and then all of a sudden it's an hour and a half later and I'm like,
what
am I doing with my life?
My phone now is at the point where it's like, you've watched all the videos available. Go to the For You section to watch more. I'm like, no, don't shame me.
Damn.
That's really funny.
I mean, I do of course wish this had a DC wrapper instead of a Marvel wrapper, but what are you gonna do?
I know they should make it DC Snap. They
should. I'd probably spend money on that one, but I don't care enough about Marvel to pour money into. But it's just fun. I haven't really felt the pressure to spend any money either.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about that last week too. That's what I kind of like about it is it doesn't feel like pay to win because everything is tied to cosmetics or I mean, to some degree it is because you can actually get better cards and everything like that. But it's more like pay for the season pass kind of thing.
Right, but it's not like you get booster packs of cards like you would in a Magic the Gathering or something, so it doesn't really feel like you're not really gambling to get better cards or anything like that.
Right. I just thought the cards themselves looked really cool. Like they look like the comic books characters instead of the MCU. And they do like the 3D effect kind of thing, which is cool.
I would say it's just cool. The leveling up thing is smart because it makes you actually want to do it. Be like, oh, I could break the frame now, Mm-hmm. There's one past 3D. I don't know what that is yet because I haven't I don't have an epic rarity card yet. But then I like that there are like the variants where it's like, oh my god, that's Scotty Young's art. Oh my god, that's Ryan Stegman. All these noteworthy comic artists take on the characters.
Mm-hmm. My problem, and I talked about this last week, is that I always want to study the card to know what I'm playing before I play it, and I feel like the other person's waiting for me. So I'm like that annoying guy. So
I'd probably be that way too.
I think it has a 60-second term limit, so it's not. It's not unreasonable to
people,
read the card.
They have a little response thing where you can like say, "I'm waiting," like hurry up.
Oh, I've never had.
I'm gonna stop being mean to me.
Yeah, I've never seen that. That's crazy. Yeah.
So
I've only lost twice. That's important to know.
Everybody says that my win percentage is really high. Like somebody's got to be losing.
I know what's going on out there. Are we all
in the tutorial thing? Aren't you playing against bots?
You are in the tutorial, yeah. Or maybe we're all playing bots we don't know it, or maybe we're all getting matched up with like 7-year-olds.
I feel like I need to download this game just to see because I'm terrible at CCGs to see if I have a high win percentage and then check back in.
Oh,
because
do it.
I'd be the one to lose every match. So
there you go. You're gonna help all of our ratings.
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna download it and see if I get a high win percentage, I'm gonna be shocked.
Oh, do it.
I would really hesitate to call this a CCG.
Well, I'm just bad at
Really
card
nice.
games in general. Like, I am really bad.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it would do great. I think it's almost more like a puzzle or strategy game than it is. I don't
I'm
know.
bad at puzzle games too.
It doesn't really feel like a. It doesn't feel like a Magic or a Yu-Gi-Oh or a Pokemon to me,
I mean,
or even a Hearthstone. Really,
it's less complicated than Hearthstone. It's
Yeah.
much less complicated. I mean, it's pretty simple, Alyssa. I don't think you'd have any trouble. Don't let the. I don't know if I agree with the puzzle game mentality.
maybe
It's
maybe that's not. Yeah, I
It's just
rescind
like
that.
I think Mario Party is a closer outside of the mini games. You know, it's not a board game, but it's just like random things happen. So like it could be total luck. It could be, you know, you played this card at the right time. It's very simple, but
Yeah, I take back the puzzle game comment.
oh okay.
I rescind that.
But they stripped away all the BS. Like it's just very straightforward.
Right.
It's really solid. It makes me wish I liked this kind of game more because everybody's talking about it, and I don't have the time to sit down and play it like I want to. You know, I know you can do a match in like 3 or 4 minutes, whatever. But if I can't go all in on it and like complete a season or something, I'm just not gonna.
That's the cost of modern game design. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
It's like that
Pretty
like Multiversus. I would love to play that game, but I feel shamed every time I boot it up because I'm like, oh, look at all these things you've missed out on, or all these season pass things you'll never get. And I'm like, I think you put this stuff here to incentivize, oh, I'll come back, but it really just makes you go like, I'm just not even gonna bother.
It's having the reverse effect. It's having the
Yeah.
effect on you know the people that want to get in at the onset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Incentivize them, but then you feel left out of the party if you start
Right.
late.
Well, to me, I'm just like, I don't know how people have the time to max out a season pass of multiple games. It seems impossible to me.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people that have a lot more free time than you and I do, I think, man.
Yeah, I gotta figure this out.
I know. I got to figure out what I'm doing wrong, too. Alyssa, what have you been
Yes.
catching up on?
Well, I completed A Plague Tale Requiem.
Sweet.
I
Was
hope
it
I
good?
said that right. I always had to be taught how to say that word. I loved this game. Loved it. But as soon as it finished, I was like, I need to tell someone about this game. But I've got to tell someone that doesn't care that I just spoiled the whole thing. So I went and told my dad. And let me just say he was appalled by what I told him about this game.
Oh, I'm
It
excited.
sounds like a dark game after hearing you guys talk about it.
It is. I don't want to say too much spoiler stuff, but this is the most appalled I've seen my dad besides when I made him watch The Mist without telling him about the ending.
Yeah.
So this
Oh.
is second to that.
Oh, the ending of the Mist is brilliant stuff.
Even Stephen King said that was better than his ending, didn't he?
Yeah, he said if he would have thought of that ending, he would have wrote it.
Isn't Stephen King kind of infamous for bad endings, though?
He
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
That's what sucks about like some of his miniseries is they're all great and then it just ends like that's it. Like,
Yeah, just
Yeah.
doesn't nail the landing.
Yeah.
But going back
Dude,
to A Plague Tale.
A Plague Tale.
It's fantastic. It looks gorgeous. I mean, playing as Amicia, it feels pretty natural picking up from the first game if you've played the first game. Your companions are all really likable. There's some really cool elements, like in sections where you just have to go full out combat. You don't have an option for stealth, or you have to pretty much be stealthy, or you'll be one hit killed. A little more pressure in those areas, but the story is really where it shines, and that's where I don't want to spoil anything because I didn't expect anything that happened in this game to happen.
that sounds really awesome.
It is,
Yeah.
and
Does it wrap up or is there going to be a third one?
it wraps up in a way, but it also gives a hint that there could be a third one if they decide to do it.
Good to know. I like it. Anything else?
I also played a little smidge of Nobody Saves the World because
Oh, I
mostly
love that
because on Xbox you get 500 reward points if you get an achievement in one of their top 10 Game Pass games, and that's one of them.
Oh,
But it was very charming. I enjoyed the little bit I played. It's probably like 30, 45 minutes I played of it.
I love that game. Although I will admit I did not finish it because it got a bit grindy towards the end. I don't know if you picked up on the level up circle.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to level. You have to do specific things for each character.
Yeah,
and
you
if
get
don't-
tasks.
Yeah.
I pretty much just played as Nobody and then the rat. And I
Nice.
leveled the rat up, I think level 2. But,
Yeah, but did you see the tree? I don't want to call it a skill tree because it's just a character tree.
Mhm.
Like there's something like 25 or something different characters.
I
It's
unlocked
nuts.
4 characters, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I had stopped the game, which there's a lot of characters you can unlock. So I'll probably keep playing it. It's not a game I would usually play, but it's very charming. I love the animation. And I'm kind of curious to see where it goes.
It's pretty great. I love that game.
It's on Game Pass.
Very addicting. It is. I thought it was taken off Game Pass, so I'm glad to hear it's
No,
still
it's
there.
still there.
All right, well, that's the games we've been catching up on. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. A few new trailers for you. We got a extended gameplay and boss fight trailer for Atomic Hearts. That game is releasing on February 21st. That game looks super rad. A Stranger Things VR game was announced for winter 2023. It'll be available on all VR platforms. And then a trailer for a game called Blight Survival. It's only pre-alpha footage, but I thought it looked really impressive, especially considering it's an indie developer. There is no release date for that as of this point. Other news. It turns out that Symbiogenesis is not what we thought or hoped it was going to be. Oh, that's a sad story. We could be getting a John Wick video game. I thought this isn't really news. I just thought it was a funny story. A NASCAR driver attributed video games for a move that he pulled on the track. The Last of Us HBO series is coming a lot sooner than we thought. A new Deus Ex game is being developed, confirmed. And then lastly, Gears of War is being adapted into a live-action film and an adult animated series. There is lots of things to talk about. Zach, let's start with you. What do you want to talk about?
I think I gotta talk about the hilarity of symbiogenesis and just what another cautionary tale about reporting on unconfirmed things, huh?
Yeah, I mean that one just seemed like it just all the pieces fit.
I got so excited
pieces, though,
too.
It was just a name, though, right?
Yeah, but then people were like, "It could be Parasite Eve remake."
No, of course, yeah, no.
And I'm like, "Oh, that'd be cool." And then NFTs.
But yeah, I would say, yeah, it's definitely not what we hoped, but this is exactly the kind of thing I thought it was going to be.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise. It's just kind of like
NFT,
bummer.
NFT collectible art project. Untangle the Story, spring 2023. Dude, I can't believe they're still betting on NFTs this long into the game here.
Who is into it? Like
nobody, right? Like
I don't know anybody that's into it, but somebody has to be because they keep doing it.
Well, I mean, everybody else is kind of pulling out. Like the value dropped like 99%. You know, like 4 months after it came out or whatever. Like, so this is a bad gamble on Square Enix's part, I would think.
Seems
maybe it's a way to make easy money off of idiots, because I know Funko does NFT cards and they always sell out. So somebody's buying this trash. Yeah. So there are definitely idiots out there. Don't get me wrong. But boy, yeah, I don't know what. You know what would really suck is what if this was like in their head? They're like, this is our attempt to modernize Parasite Eve. You know, the story has to do with mitochondria and stuff like that, and then they'll use the excuse like, well, hey, look, we tried symbiogenesis and nobody showed up. Clearly, nobody wants Parasite Eve.
You guys didn't like our NFT, so.
I mean, the internet exploded with the possibility of this being Parasite Eve. Clearly, there's an interest in another Parasite Eve game.
Right. Who doesn't want to spend more time with Aya Brea?
I didn't even play the second one, but that first game,
good.
That opening sequence in Parasite Eve in the theater, the opera house or whatever. Man,
first game is one of my favorite PS1 games. Yeah. The second one, not good.
No.
The third one, really fun. Not a Parasite Eve game, though.
I didn't even know there was a third one.
It was a PSP, yeah.
The third birthday.
Oh. Right.
When she takes damage, her clothes tear.
Oh.
So if you do bad enough, she'll be in her skivvies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was hoping that wasn't gonna go.
Incentivizes you to do bad.
Yeah, it's a real contrast. Like, do I want to do good or do I want to be bad?
I was hoping it was just going to be like rips in her clothes, not that he actually tried to make her naked.
it starts off as rips in your clothes, but if you do bad enough, I guess you're just forced to see Aya Brea half naked.
Oh,
It's a real
there you
shame.
go.
Oh yeah, I'm sensing real shame on your face, Zach.
It's a real, really unfortunate.
It's a mischievous grin on his face right now. What about you, Alyssa?
I'll talk about why I shared with you guys the news that Gears of War is going to be a live action film and an adult animation series, and they announced this today, November 7th, which is the 16th anniversary of Gears of War. It's a collaboration between Netflix and the Coalition. Cliff Bleszinski said he has no involvement whatsoever in this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, he's done.
And they said there's potential for more stories and projects if these end up doing well, which we'll have to see.
I think we've been wanting a live action Gears of War for a while. We've been talking about, The Rock playing Dom.
Dave Bautista as
Dave
Marcus.
Bautista.
As Marcus, yeah.
There's no way you can't have anybody but Dave Bautista, right? He's so public about wanting to be Marcus.
I can't think of anybody else
I mean,
that would work.
He was basically Marcus in Gears of War 5 or Gears 5 in the multiplayer.
Right. Yeah, well, wasn't there a DLC for Gears 4 or 5 where you could replace Marcus Phoenix as Dave Bautista for the story?
I don't remember.
I vaguely remember something like that.
I think maybe it was Gears 4, or maybe it was the Ultimate Edition.
I didn't have that edition,
but anyway, I could have swore that happened somewhere along the way. But anyway, Dave Bautista makes sense. It's like Henry Cavill as Geralt. It's just this person is so public about this for so long that you just have to give it to them.
You just hurt my heart again, Zach. I just got that out of my mind, and now it's back.
And then
they
do
Terry
such a bad job.
Crews as Coltrane.
I guess you could, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking size and personality. That's a perfect fit.
Right.
All three of those guys are a perfect fit.
Baird's a tough one. Baird's tough to nail down.
Yeah, the problem is because all those guys are just so massive, and even though Baird is like an engineer or whatever, he's still a big dude, but I'm not going to call him wiry, but he's definitely thinner than the others. But I don't know.
Let's give it to Timothy Oliphant.
I was just going to say Timothy Oliphant.
Really, yeah.
Would have been my choice just from like the sarcasm. You know what I mean?
All right, Netflix, give us a call. We just nailed it down.
Yeah. I didn't know they were going to be doing an animated series though, because
I did not.
That could be interesting because, who knows how gory they're going to make it. You got to make a Gears of War R-rated, right? There's no way you're going to have a chainsaw bayonet.
Well, I mean, they specifically put adult animation.
No, I know, but I'm talking about for the live action one. They're going to have to make that.
Yeah.
Is going to have to be
it's Netflix, R-rated. So you don't have they put an NC-17 movie out, right? They don't have to care about ratings.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All I know is whatever it is I wanted. Did they give any kind of release window? Alyssa?
They did not. It was just that one single tweet.
Yeah, this doesn't exactly fill me with hope. I've been hearing about a Gears of War movie as long as Gears of War has been around.
We've been hearing people talk about it, but we haven't heard anybody say hey, this is happening. Have we?
Well, they did. How's that BioShock movie coming over at Netflix?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, see?
I did too.
I completely forgot that they were making a BioShock movie. Oh my goodness.
So wow. So I'm just saying, it might, you'll probably see it in 17 years.
Yeah, probably. That may be a good call.
Dave Bautista will have to play Marcus's dad. He'll be too old.
Adam Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
It was Adam, right?
Yeah, it was. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Presumed dead until Gears 3.
Yeah, well, what a great stinger for Gears 2, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was good. Let's see. While we're talking about series, The Last of Us HBO series has a release date of January 15th. Did anybody assume that was going to come out that early? I just assumed that was going to be summer at the very earliest.
You're not the only person I've heard hear this, but I don't know. This totally makes sense to me. We've been hearing about the show forever.
Wait, we've been hearing about it being a thing, but we only got the trailer. What, like a month ago? A month or two ago?
Yeah, I don't know. It felt right what I would have assumed.
Oh, okay. Well, shut my mouth.
It feels like an appropriate time to release it.
I will definitely be watching that one.
Oh, yeah,
is it
good.
Weird that I actually look forward to shows that don't release the entire season all at once?
Oh, I'm the same way.
No, I think the popular opinion is now weekly TV again.
because I mean, just spoilers and stuff. Like I don't have time to sit and watch all of Stranger Things in one night like I used to. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
I mean, even Netflix, right? They do their seasons in batches now.
right.
I
And
think
they
people
even
just-
have some shows that do weekly episodes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think just like everything in this world, everything's cyclical. So now people want weekly television again for sure.
I just kind of like looking forward to something each week.
Yeah, I always thought it. That's why I like I used to watch all my CW shows because it gave you something to watch every week.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it feels like the shows live with you way more than if you just knock it out on a weekend.
Right. What do you guys think about the possibility of a John Wick video game? I know we had Jonah Wick Hex, which you reviewed for us, right, Zach?
John Wick Hex, I don't know. I think maybe.
What did I say, Jonah Wick?
Yeah.
Oh, when I first read it, I read it as Jonah Wick Hex as well.
Yeah, there's
Jonah
a giant whale
Hex.
that swallows him. Oh, Jonah Hex. That's where I mix
Yeah.
it up, right? Jonah Hex, that movie.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. DC Comics movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
John Feltheimer, the Lionsgate CEO, made mention during an earnings call with investors, and I quote, "I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but we believe that there is a big AAA game to be made out of John Wick. We have been fielding proposals. We certainly are interested in moving that forward, but I don't want to say anything more about that at this time." So, very early stuff going on there, but I feel like John Wick is a game that we've been kind of wondering why it doesn't exist.
I mean,
'Cause,
it'd make for a great one.
I mean, just
Guys,
bring
just
back
play-
that Arkham Combat.
I was going
With
to say even
gunplay.
more Splinter Cell Conviction.
Okay.
Yeah, we
You
need
know,
the gory death stuff and the inventive
Sure.
kills because that's like John Wick's MO.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the mark and execute system from Splinter Cell Conviction or 007 Bloodstone would work really well with the John Hicks character.
There you go. Or what's the People Can Fly game where with the different glory kills that you could do?
Bulletstorm?
Bulletstorm?
Bulletstorm. Remember like all the like
Yeah.
kicking someone into a cactus, but without it being comedic. You know what I mean? Something like that, where you're incentivized for coming up with clever ways to take out enemies.
Yeah.
And I miss when games
I just don't feel
tried
like-
something different like that.
Like, am I high? I don't feel like John Wicks is a very melee focused character. He's doing like gun fu or whatever.
Yeah, it's a little.
And
mix
he's
of
also
both.
done horse foo, car foo. There was the
Sure.
library battle. That library battle was awesome. Books
didn't
are
he,
a powerful weapon.
Use a horse as a weapon, like to kick guys or something.
Yeah, he did.
That was in 3, I believe. Nuts.
Parabellum.
Good stuff.
I don't know.
And
I
Okay.
wonder. I wonder if we'll ever see this.
you think it's that? No, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you hear CEOs say this kind of stuff all the time.
All right.
I don't know.
All
I'm
right.
just people talking out of their butt.
All right. Last thing I want to mention, because it's not even news, but I just think that this is hilarious. Did you guys see the footage of this NASCAR driver, Ross Chastain? This move that he pulled at a race recently? Have either of you seen it?
No,
I
but
haven't
so
seen
he
the
accelerated-
video.
So is it like when in a video game you right your steering by running into the wall on purpose? Is that
Yes
what
and
you're
no.
saying?
It's not only that, but it is to accelerate. Because like if you run into the wall at the right angle, it will actually propel you forward a little bit.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So he
Yeah.
actually like steered into the wall on purpose and was able to pull ahead of 5 other cars at the very last, like right before the finish line, to qualify by just one place. Like if he hadn't done that, he would have lost by 5.
Pretty baller
Um,
move.
It really was. And during an interview, he said that he used to pull a similar move on NASCAR 2005 back on the GameCube when he was a kid, which is hilarious to me. And the article I read mentioned that this move is a legal move. Technically, it's something that you can do in NASCAR, but other drivers aren't happy about it. And the speculation is that there's going to be some kind of change made to NASCAR rules to keep that from happening because it's a safety thing, probably.
Well, I
you know.
think way more than safety, it is a sore loser thing.
Oh, I think at this point,
Oh, yeah.
yes. Or a
no
that's not the NASCAR way.
That's not how we do it.
I mean, if it's not against the rules and you have the smarts to pull it off.
Or the guts to pull it off, because basically, his vehicle was toast.
Oh, yeah.
Sports people love to get bent out of shape about, well, that's not how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
Poker, oh man, there were so many poker controversies when poker was big.
Uh-huh.
But why would you take a hit on that play? I don't know, man, because I won. That's why.
Yeah.
That is why.
It's called gambling.
Yes. Because I won.
Yep.
There's no other reason. I hate that. I hate blackjack and poker players. Oh my God.
I hear you.
Anyway, I'm just saying there's a lot of sore losers. That's why the rule would change. They would say it's because of safety, but full well it's because, I don't know, Jeff Gordon probably doesn't race it anymore, but somebody this caliber is, that's not how we do it. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Probably doesn't race anymore. That was 15 years ago, wasn't it?
I don't even know if he retired or not.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't have a clue.
Somebody's going to let us know. Is Bill Elliott still driving?
To Dale Earnhardt, he's still going.
I was about to say, is Dale Earnhardt still?
No.
Wait a minute,
Zach and I are like the NASCAR noobs. We don't know it.
I think Dale
Earnhardt
Earnhardt
passed away, didn't he?
He took a career.
Oh, there's a
cooking,
junior? Or did he pass away? I don't know.
No, he's fine.
Okay. He's fine. Okay.
Dale Earnhardt was, when I was a kid, my first stepdad loved NASCAR, and Dale Earnhardt was our guy. I remember they made a biopic. 3 was the name of it. That was a good movie.
Yep, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was the number on the side of his car. I know nothing about NASCAR, but I thought that story was kind of funny. You got to go look up the video because it straight up looks like a crash. Like, we've all seen footages of crashes in racing, whether it be NASCAR, Formula One, or anything like that. And it just looks like it was like he was just totaling out, but no, it was an intentional thing he did to hug the wall around them. Because, when you're rounding a turn, the idea is to stay in the inner lane, right? But he just kind of slingshotted around the outer lane to speed up past those last 5. And it was people all over Twitter are just saying, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I don't follow NASCAR, so I don't know how crazy it was, but it looked pretty nuts for something that was done on purpose. So check it out for sure.
Dude, for a second, I thought you were saying that's what Dale Earnhart did. I was very confused.
No. I'm sorry. I'm talking about this Chastain guy.
Yeah, no. I picked up on it now, but I was definitely.
Oh, no.
I'm mystified for a second.
Anyway, that's the week's news. Want to remind everybody before we move on about our Patreon. If you'd like to help support the show, help pay for the the website, the podcast hosting services, and also allow us to do some giveaways for the community. Be sure to head over to patreon.com/thegocast. We would love your contribution. We were actually able to give away a copy of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on PS5, which Scott Boers, congratulations to him. He actually received that in the mail today, so he is probably enjoying that campaign as we speak. And I'm a little jealous because after reading Zach's review,
oh yeah,
I kind of have to play that game. It sounds pretty rad.
Yeah, It sounds amazing.
Yeah. But anyway, every dollar that we get in that goes towards paying for the show, and then anything extra goes towards buying, copies of games that we use to review in the show, which we then in turn give away to the community. So we don't keep anything for ourselves. But patreon.com/thegocast. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the new games that we've been playing. Zach, it looks like busy season is upon us officially. It's a rough week.
Dude, I mean, this year, busy season goes into mid-December this year.
I know, it's nuts.
It's wild. But adorable looking game, A Little to the Left, comes out of PC November 8th. Football Manager 2023 makes its debut on Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC November 8th. Oddworld Soulstorm gets ported to the Switch November 8th, as does Sifu for the Nintendo Switch November 8th.
That was being played at Extra Life this weekend, Sifu.
Oh, Sifu's great.
Mm-hmm.
Return to Monkey Island makes its way to current-gen consoles on PS5 and Xbox Series consoles November 8th. Cobra Kai 2 Dojo's Rising. I forgot they made a first Cobra Kai video game.
I did as well.
To beat 'em up.
Yeah. Coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC November 8th. We might as well stop reading the list now because Sonic Frontiers coming out on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, PC November 8th. I guess God of War Ragnarok, another major release coming to PS5, PS4 November 9th. Vampire Survivors. I'm officially out of excuses because Vampire Survivors comes to Xbox Series consoles and Xbox One November 10th.
Will you both please just try it?
I'm going to. I'm not going to let you down, Scott.
Okay.
I'm going to play Vampire Survivors.
And I want you to play at least 2 runs. Like, don't just play it for like 5 minutes and then, because it takes like 2 runs, and runs are only like 15 minutes. So
I'm committing to. I'll commit to 5 runs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Alyssa, you do the same.
Now I gotta commit to 5 runs. Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
I upped the ante.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Kaiju Wars is exactly what it sounds like. Comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, and Xbox One November 10th. Atari 50, the anniversary celebration. A bunch of old games coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC November 11th. And then the cool piece of history getting remade, Tactics Ogre Reborn, comes to PS5, PS4, Switch, and PC November 11th. In case you are somehow unaware, that is the predecessor to Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, I did not know that.
No, there you go. It's same director and team and stuff like that. So Tactics Ogre, if you're into strategy games, what are you looking forward to most, Scott Clark?
Boy, so here's the thing. I am having...
whenever somebody says, here's the thing, only good news is to follow.
Okay, I have read and heard some of the early reviews of God of War Ragnarok, and I really enjoyed playing the original God of War. Thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a little long, and that one was, 20 hours?
Yeah, about 20 hours.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
And from what I hear, God of War Ragnarok has just upped the presentation factor in terms of just how we play video games and how the conversations work and the dynamic camera angles and the story and the actors that they get to play some well-known characters in this mythos. Is that the right word to use? I don't know if you've looked, and if you're going to play the game, don't spoil it, but I looked up to see who they got to play Odin, and I was shocked who they got to play Odin. It was not who I expected it to be.
No, I gotta look it up.
Yeah, what the hell? How you gonna do this to us?
I mean, if you want to look it up, but I don't want to say it on the show in case anybody wants to be surprised. But I saw.
Did they get Tom Cruise?
They got Chris Pratt, didn't they?
Oh my God!
No.
That's hilarious.
I mean, this is like a B-level actor. It's not like, but it's just a very, very random and unexpected. But I'm waiting for the reactions from you guys to see who it is.
I'm looking it up.
Oh my goodness, this is making for great radio. But all of this sounds super amazing.
Oh, I don't know who this is.
You've seen him in movies. I guarantee you, he's one of those. You know those actors where you're like, I don't know his name, but I see him in so many movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recognize him either.
He just doesn't.
Maybe we're too young. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. But anyway, all that said, sounds amazing. Sounds like something I really want to play. I know this guy now. You're right.
Okay, told you.
I think he's in a couple episodes of Monk. Yeah.
Sense.
I don't know. He didn't strike me as the perfect Odin, but
right. I mean, and again, it's digitally enhanced, but from what I've heard, when he appears on screen, you're like, oh, it's that actor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you actually recognize this guy when you see him. So,
wow.
Anyway, all that sounds really awesome, and then I hear that those that have finished it about 35 hours, and I don't want to play God of War for 35 hours. I don't know. I don't care how beautiful it looks. I say that, and I'll probably pick it up over Thanksgiving or something and blast through it. But that's just a lot of. I'm old, man. 35 hours.
No, we talk about it a lot on the show, but for me, it's just that it would be one thing if there was a game or two every year that was that long, but now every game is that long. So
right.
It's just kind of hard. That you used to be able to play through 10 games and the time it'll take you to beat God of War Ragnarok in one other game.
Right.
You know, like it's just a different world.
Plus-
and I'm with you. When I hear the number 35 hours, I'm exhausted, especially because I thought God of War, the first one, was already way too long.
At 20.
Yeah, it just didn't have the story or the variety really to warrant that length for me.
Mhm.
And there was parts, you know, as I've said a lot recently, like video games need an editor, but like God of War 2018 was the first time where I thought that, because there was that whole Dark Elf section where you go to the Dark Elf world,
Mhm.
and there was like the war between the Light Elves and the Dark Elves, and when you get back, I was like, that didn't need to be in the game at all.
Mhm.
That added nothing to the story whatsoever. It was a complete waste of time. And it wasn't a side quest, it was part of the main story.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
so,
with you. So, like, I'm so torn on that game because I'm already getting a little FOMO just hearing people talk about it, because I did like the original. I didn't like, it wasn't like the best game ever to me, like some people speak of, but I really enjoyed it. And the music was awesome. And that moment at the end was pretty rad.
Yeah, I like the story. I ended up liking the characters, Kratos and Atreus, but I didn't think the combat was very good either. So I just thought it was okay.
I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I just didn't fawn over it like everybody does.
Right.
I don't know if that's
like
a Sony fanboyism thing, or if it's,
I like the combat. I like the old games more, honestly.
So did I, man. Those are so much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so part of me wants to play it, but I don't want to play the whole thing. I just want to like get a taste of it and be like, yeah, I tried it, but I don't want that. It would cost me $70 to do that, and I just don't think I want to do that.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
if somebody wants to buy it for me, I'll play it then. But
yeah, you guys mentioned Vampire Survivors. I will be playing that on Xbox because I can get achievements now. So that's awesome. The game is so much fun, and to be able to play it on my big screen instead of my Steam Deck sounds pretty appealing. I already have Return to Monkey Island on Switch, but again, if I can play that for achievements, that is great.
That's all about, baby.
I know.
It's all about them achievements.
But Sonic Frontiers, especially after, recently doing a Sonic episode with Kevin where I beat the original Sonic for the first time. I played, what was the other Sonic one that he had me play? Not Origins.
Generations?
Yeah.
Generations, which was freaking great. I cannot get over how great that game was. And the more I see Sonic Frontiers, it just looks awesome. So that's going to be my pick. That was my long-winded answer to say Sonic Frontiers.
All right. What about you, Alyssa?
I'm actually really looking forward to God of War Ragnarok. Again, the 35-hour runtime is daunting to me, but I really want to see the story through.
Mm-hmm.
And I already bought the game. I did the pre-order thing, so
Oh my god.
I need to play it. I know. I usually don't pre-order stuff, but I did it with this one.
Did you pre-order it digitally?
Yes, digitally.
Nice.
And then I do want to play a little to the left at some point because there is a cat. It's a puzzle game, but it's got like this factor to it that I don't know. It seems like it would be soothing for my OCD. And then a cat
Is this
can
like
come
organizing shelves or something?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it actually looks really relaxing.
It just made me think of like playing unpacking, but then a cat can come in and mess up your progress, but you can't be mad because it's a cute little kitty cat. It's just having fun. So I do want to play that game.
All right.
Yeah, for
Zach,
me, it's all
I already know your
Sonic
answer.
Frontiers. Hell yeah. I'm excited about Vampire Survivors, see what all the hype's about, because you're not the only person who's ranting and raving all year,
Mm-hmm.
But
have you noticed all the clones that have started popping up? Like,
Oh yeah.
They're everywhere. Like everybody is trying to capitalize on this formula.
And who could blame them? If there's a sci-fi version out there, I'll probably play that.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah, but
just know there's no story. There's absolutely zero story in this.
I think it's adding story because Stephanie Sterling, Destructoid, doing writing for that game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they keep changing it. They are constantly doing updates. Like there's just a crazy, and it's constantly at the top of the list on most played games on Steam. Like at the top, it's just insane.
It's just it looks addicting as hell.
It really is. I can't wait.
But for me, it's Sonic Frontiers, baby.
Oh yeah,
dude, that new trailer. Oh my god, he was going supersonic up in there, like doing the in the open world. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oof. Sonic Frontiers looks great. I'm in.
As an oldie guy too, I will say Atari 50 the anniversary collection looks kind of fun, but I don't know. Just reliving some of the past because man, I was an Atari guy when I was a kid.
It feels difficult for me to trust Atari.
Yeah, they're doing good with those remastered games. Like where I played the Yars Recharged, and
Yeah, you're right.
they're doing really cool things with those games. I mean, they're $10 games. They're not, but they're doing some of those older titles justice and remaking them in a way that's really fun and engaging. So
I like the hilarious years where they just kind of like put their logos on hats and like that was what they did.
Yeah,
Like they just license out their trademark to weird, expensive things.
it's a really cool logo. It's like a simple but cool
It is,
and recognizable logo.
My first bumper sticker, my first car was the Atari logo.
Nice. Anyway, Zach, it is time finally to talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and we got to make sure we let everybody know that Zach has not played the multiplayer. He has only played the campaign, which you said was, about 12 hours?
Nope, like 5 or 6.
Oh, my bad. I just read it, and I completely forgot that. So 5 or 6 hours, which is
Yep.
exactly
Perfect.
what I love to hear. This really makes me wish that Redbox was still a thing, because I would Redbox the crap out of this game and play it over a weekend.
That's what I did for the first Modern Warfare. Redbox the hell out of that game.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up the original, because in your review, you talked about how the story wasn't quite as hard-hitting as the original. Can you explain what that means? I mean, is there a basic story you can give a synopsis of here, and why it didn't land quite as well as the original?
Well, yeah. So the first game, I don't know if you remember the marketing cycle at all for the first Modern Warfare,
Mm-hmm.
but they were kind of proud about how confrontational they were going to be, and that they were intentionally addressing controversial topics, and they did in that first game. There were a lot of like America kind of inciting wars in the Middle East, and there were parts of the games where you'd have to like torture a terrorist by pointing a gun at his family, kind of stuff like that.
Right.
But if you didn't, how will you find the missiles? Things like that, and it's just or you were breaking into people's houses. If you remember, there's like a nighttime mission where
My
there's
favorite
crying
mission
babies.
in that whole game.
Yeah. Well, if you like it, they double down here. Let me tell you, there's a lot of homes you go into in this game.
Okay.
And I think they were aware that was people's favorite level. But the second game, while it does still have some I guess somewhat controversial topics, it's not as confrontational about sort of the horrors of what you're doing.
Right.
It's a little bit more about, because you're playing as Task Force 141, which is the crew of the original Modern Warfare trilogy, which really wasn't present in the first reboot. It was mostly new characters. And but you're playing as the classics here. You got Ghosts all over this game, and
Nice.
Soap and Price and stuff. So it's a little bit more about their bond and stuff. And if you remember I don't know if you remember the bad guy of the original Modern Warfare trilogy, General Shepard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He returns here, and it's just a kind of a different tone. It's a little bit more fun in that way, but it's still like, it's still like, I guess, heavy, just not in the same way.
Okay. One of the things that I loved about your review that made me want to play it even more, I was talking about FOMO with Ragnarok. I'm getting super FOMO for Call of Duty because I love these campaigns. Is just the ADD nature of it, where you're never doing the same thing for very long.
There's no 15 minutes that are like the 15 minutes before it, which is
so good.
Which is incredible, right? Like in the course of an hour, you'll be stealthing through almost all Gillied Up style, where you're sneaking through these enemy patrols, and then
you're at the guy on the left.
Yes, all of that. You're even with Price. You're doing all of that kind of stuff, and then, but then you'll be up on a hillside where you end up, and then there's an enemy base down there. But it's up to you to account for the bullet drop and to find all the enemy patrols and make sure you don't shoot the civilians that are in the camp, because there's just people like working on cars and stuff like that.
Right.
So you have to stealthily snipe whilst accounting for bullet drop, but then you have to sneak into the base, and now you're putting tear gas into air ducts and stuff like that, and then there's a big chase scene, and then all of a sudden you're shooting stuff from an airplane from overhead, but that's all like in 60 minutes.
Wow.
It's just, there's so much variety, and it's constant. Like it just never gets old. You know, there are like a lot of stealth missions, but you know, when you're playing them, they don't last longer than 10 or 15 minutes or something like that. And sometimes they let you off the leash, you know, where you have to figure it out yourself. But then they have a lot of stuff where it's, you know, almost that kind of scripted stealth that I would say Call of Duty is moderately famous for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, with the take the guy on the left, stuff like that.
Those were my, was it Modern Warfare 2? Like the original Modern Warfare 2 that you did a lot of that. I love those. I'll get this one. And you like had a time at 3,
right,
2, 1.
Yeah. And you're like in the, it's so cool because you're in the Arctic and stuff.
Yeah. And it just felt awesome. Like it wasn't difficult, but it just felt very in the moment. So those moments are present here too, huh? Yes,
yeah, they are. It's still not as over the top as that first trilogy was, where you're like doing snowmobiles off of mountain cliffs and stuff, and you're like grappling hook, axe throws and stuff. It's not as ridiculous. It is kind of grounded here, but it is still fun. And they have so many nods to the original trilogy, which I didn't realize I was nostalgic for as I was, I guess, because whenever they would have the references, I would get all excited. Like one that's, I don't feel too bad giving away is, you know, like I think it was the first Modern Warfare where you're infiltrating the ship that's rocking in the waves, so all of the cargo containers are moving around.
Oh yeah,
you know, that moment is definitely here.
Awesome.
You do something very similar. It's very cool, except, you know, with very 2022 graphics.
Right.
And then I texted you, Scott, about how the game ends.
Yeah, don't say that, because that is
definitely not.
Yeah,
but that is it's a real fist pump moment, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, in a weird way.
Yeah, well, you know, it honors gaming history.
Yeah,
but yeah, dude, I mean, I couldn't believe how much fun it was, and honestly, you know, there's not as much weird techno military mumbo jumbo jargon going on here. Like the story felt pretty easy to follow.
Oh, okay.
Like, and it flowed. Because I feel like in the original Modern Warfare games, right, you did a lot of like character hopping where you'd be like a dude in Russia all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. But like here, it's very much like, oh, we've got to call this guy. And then you like hear the conversation with this dude in Mexico. And then all of a sudden you're playing as the guy in Mexico.
Yeah.
But the story, it just like flows so effortlessly from mission to mission that, you know, all of a sudden 4 hours pass and you're like, where did the time go?
I need to like rent a copy from somebody that owns this. Okay, I mean, yeah, and I don't feel too guilty saying that, because $70 for a 5 or 6 hour campaign, you know what I mean? I'm not going to touch the multiplayer, and I feel like at least half of that you're paying for multiplayer. So
yeah, my brain is totally broken. Where if it was just a $70 single player game that was 6 hours, I probably wouldn't have a problem. But there's some kind of mental part of my brain where I'm like, well, I'm really paying $70 for, you know, half of the game that I won't be playing because I don't care about multiplayer at all.
Right. But if it were just the campaign, you'd be totally fine.
Yeah, I think I would. My brain's broken in that way.
I feel like even $50, I would be okay.
I've always wondered why they haven't just sold if you just want the campaign, here's $40 and here's the campaign, you know?
Right.
I think you would sell copies that way.
I think you would.
Because I don't think the people paying $70 for the multiplayer are playing the campaign based on, you know, achievement numbers and stuff like that.
Right. Or even separate the multiplayer. Just make the multiplayer.
No, I'm saying business-wise, I understand why you trap multiplayer into a $70 package.
Right.
But I'm saying also business-wise, I think you could just cut off the campaign and be like, if you just want the campaign, it's $40.
I mean, I would buy a copy.
Absolutely.
$40.
Yeah.
Like, sold.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. But dude, it's so good. It was so nice to play a game where you didn't want to put it down. Like it never, you know, it doesn't let you get bored with it because it's just constantly switching things up. And it was, you know, as soon as I put the controller down, I was like, God, I can't wait to get back to Call of Duty.
Like a third one, or you want to play through it again?
No, like I was saying, like when I had to stop to eat dinner or whatever, it was like, I can't wait to get back to Modern Warfare 2. I mean, I really do want a third one. I like these characters, and for whatever reason, Task Force 141, the way they're written here, they actually do. They feel like a friends and a partnership, and it ends in such a way where, you know, you really want to see them basically take on America.
Oh,
That's
wow.
pretty cool. Yeah.
I remember the time, I can't remember which one it was, where like you didn't know that Soap was going to be there, and then like you like rescue him or something at one point, and I was like, Soap is here. That was like such a cool
there's
moment.
Something of, I like Soap. I don't know why. I guess it's probably because you played him so much in the first game, but
right.
Still, it's these games are, and that's not a spoiler. Okay, Modern Warfare was kind of about Task Force 1 fighting the corrupt American government anyway in the original trilogy.
Right. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Wish I were playing it. I really wish I would knock that out in a weekend in a heartbeat.
It sounds really good.
Play that with
Guys,
some
you would love it.
headphones. Good stuff.
Speaking of headphones,
Yeah, speaking of headphones, hopefully I say this correctly. Is it EPOS?
You know, I
GTW?
honestly don't know how to pronounce it. EPOS? EPOS?
It's one of those. GTW 270 earbuds. You're reviewing them, Scott?
Yeah, I actually was
And-
sent a set of these earbuds by EPOS or EPOS, and they wanted me to try them out. And I know this makes for terrible radio, but I will show you guys. They come
It
in a
is a
handy
cute
dandy
little box.
Yeah, it comes in a case,
they're
kind of
so,
like
so small.
they're actually much larger than like AirPods. I don't know if either of you use AirPods.
No, sadly
They're
no.
I do almost all day, every day.
Same here. I mean, I have to keep one in my ear instead of two, so that when that one dies, I can swap to the other one while the other one
Yeah.
charges.
See, I know
So-
exactly what you mean, dude.
So anyway, these come in a handy dandy little case.
And they are wireless, by the way.
They are wireless, and what's really cool about it is that I've never seen earbuds do this. It actually comes with I've seen headsets do this, but these earbuds actually come with a little dongle that attaches via USB-C, so you don't even have to pair it via Bluetooth. You can just plug this into your device or whatever and do that. I've been using it with Bluetooth, mostly on my Switch. They are closed acoustic, which is it makes surround sound in your earbuds, which is just kind of crazy to me. They sound amazing. My only issue that I've got with them is that I can't do what I was just talking about, Zach, where I can't wear just one of them.
Yeah.
Which
Really?
Which, I mean, these are designed for gaming. You know what I mean? These aren't designed for work or doing stuff around the house like I do with my AirPods. These are designed to do the surround experience, and very full sound. I really do dig them. The only other negative thing I can say about them, and this is just the design thing, is that this little dongle does not have a spot to store. I can't store the dongle inside the case, and I am desperately afraid that I'm going to lose this thing.
Right,
It's
a real
tiny for
dongle.
the people that can't see it.
Yeah,
It's like it's like half a pinky.
Yeah, it's smaller than a flash drive. So like I am keeping. I almost need like one of those, like, I don't know, crown bags to put the case and the dongle in it so that they're always together. But they sound great. I haven't had a chance to play Xbox for a while or PlayStation for a while. So with games like Sonic and God of War coming out here pretty soon, games that are gonna have that immersive and more modern sound, I'm really looking forward to checking them out. You know what I should do? I should go back and play Senua's Sacrifice.
Oh, that'd be
on
so
Xbox.
awesome. Yeah.
To really give these a good spin. But I don't know. I really dig everything about them. I mean, I don't know if I can't describe this very well. You guys can see it visually, but they look like they would be uncomfortable. Because
Yeah, they do.
actually they go kind of upside down. So like the thing that sticks in your ear, there's a part that sticks in your ear, and then there's it's much larger than an AirPod. But these actually contour to my ear much better than an AirPod. Like I can't like bend over to pick something up while I'm working in my house without it falling out. I can't work out with an AirPod because if I lay down on a bench, they fall out of my ears. I have tested these, and they actually stay in my ears if I'm doing anything, which is funny because these aren't designed for me to be doing anything else while I'm doing. These are designed for me to be playing while I'm sitting in front of my TV or PC or Switch or something like that, and they stick to my ears better than AirPods do. So
I was actually going to ask you about that because just even wired earbuds will not stay in my ears. I guess my ears are weirdly shaped. So I was curious if they actually stay in. So
they do. I've never had one of them fall out. But like if I'm playing a game and I got both of them in and someone tries to get my attention, I pull one out, the audio just goes out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
the downside.
So maybe there's a way to do that. I have not taken a deep dive into the instructions. I just did the quick manual version of it. But I'm very happy with these. If you guys are looking for a good set of gaming headset if you're looking for just audio, there's not going to be any kind of microphone capabilities. You're going to be, playing a game by yourself with it. I do wish they were just a tad louder, but that could be a personal preference and me losing my hearing in my old age. But yeah, the GTW 270 earbuds from EPOS, EPOS. Highly recommend them. There is a link for them in the show notes for this episode if you want to take a look at them. I really dig them quite a bit. And they do the AirPod thing too in the front where it shows how much power you've got in the case. You can actually charge them in the case.
Blinky lights.
And then, so that's one of the things with before the AirPods came around is like these wireless Bluetooth headphones are great, but they're dead, and then I have to go charge them in a wall or something. I love the idea of just being able to stick them in a case that holds a charge for a while, and these are no exception. So really digging them, and highly recommend them. GTW 270s. And there you have it. Moving on, want to tell you guys once again about all of the ways that you can follow the Gaming Outsider on social media and our website. First off, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. We've got hundreds and hundreds of people over there, and I do my best to try to keep that updated with news and fun discussion topics and just interact with the community over there. Also, our Discord, we do have a server with a link in the show notes if you want to join that server. I recommend you do so. Lots of good conversations going over there, and we even have a couple channels for things like sports and movies and TV. So, and that's also where we try to organize some community game nights, which we need to do one of those again very soon. Also, if you get a chance, drop us a review on whatever platform you listen to this episode. We do appreciate it because those do help us get the word out. So whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Spotify, Stitcher, we're actually even on Amazon Music. But if you have a place that you can review it, we do appreciate it. And if you do give us a written review, I will actually read it on the show, so would love to hear from you. Lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. There you can find all the episodes as well as all of our written content, which includes this week a review of Smash Boats from Kevin. He talked about that a couple weeks ago. Alyssa's review of Paper Ghost Story 7 p.m., which she talked about last week. Kevin's review of Cube, spelled Q-U-B-E, 10th Anniversary, which he gave, not making this up, a 10 out of 10 perfect score. He really loved that game. Also, Zach's reviews of Gotham Knights and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 are also available on the site. I know you're not on Facebook, Zach, but you got lots of positive comments on your review.
You really
on
did.
Facebook did. So,
Which one?
On Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a screenshot. I should have.
I would love to.
Yeah, I always take. I was gonna text you, be like, "These are so good." I'm like, I'm gonna embarrass you. So, I didn't do it.
Thank you.
So yeah,
I'm saying it now.
I was just left wondering that these were bad ones because you didn't say that.
Oh well, from now on, I'll tell you when I think they're extremely well written reviews.
Let me know when they're bad too.
You've never written a bad review that I've seen.
Well, ask the audience; they're going to disagree with at least one.
Yeah. He just needs to remember what a semicolon is, and then it'll be perfect.
Dude, oh my god, that drove me nuts. The whole after I sent it off, I was like, I'm pretty sure they needed a semicolon.
It's really funny. It always makes me feel good when I catch Zach on an edit or something like that. It makes me feel like, hey, I caught Zach making a mistake because he never does it. He never makes mistakes.
Dude, that semicolon, it's going to haunt me for weeks now. I'm going to overthink every semicolon for weeks.
Probably. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into this week's From the Outside In topic. As promised last week, we are talking about our former selves this week. Specifically, what video game technology we'd love to take with us into a time machine to show the younger versions of ourselves what the future of games is going to look like. You had to pick one thing. You're going to hop into the DeLorean, go back and give it to yourself as a kid and say, hey, buddy, this is what gaming is going to look like when you grow up and become an adult. What's that one thing that you're going to do? So I want to hear from you guys. What is that one thing from the video game industry that you take back with yourself to blow his or her mind? Would it be a specific video game, a console, or maybe some service that we use regularly now and might take for granted? Alyssa, let's start with you.
I'm going to go with Game Pass because I feel like if I took something back that was just like graphically outstanding right now to my childhood self, it'd probably melt my brain. So I'll just say Game Pass because I remember back when I was very little, when I first got my first PlayStation and everything, I only got 2 games a year on my birthday and Christmas because that was expensive at that time to pay $60 for a game. So to know, like, if I were to tell little Alyssa that you could pay $15 a month or what have you for Game Pass, you get all these games to play, she would have been thrilled. Because I had to replay so many games back then. Like, I don't have to replay a game for a long time now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, because kids, I mean, I hate sounding like the old fart, but kids don't know how good they've got it right now in terms of, like, you just have so many games you can play. We had to wait for a birthday or Christmas or mow 10,000 lawns over a summer to be able to afford one game. So
right, then it would be Mega Man 4 and you'd beat it in 2 days.
Yep.
And you always hope the game you got wasn't a terrible game because you'd still have to play it, but you wouldn't be enjoying it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we didn't have YouTube reviews or you know, there was nothing out there.
Luckily, I had brothers, right? So we basically got 3 or 4 games a year because we each had our own birthday. And I remember my brother Brandon wasted his birthday on Robotron 64. That game was trash. And I remember we played maybe 2 hours of it, and it was just like, dude, we messed up. This is so it was devastating when you got a bad game because guess what? You're gonna be playing more of it.
Yeah, and you can't return open video games. It's not like you could take it back to the store.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I was one of those kids that was also a sucker for the licensed games from Nickelodeon and all that.
Oh,
so I'd get those, and they were terrible. I made a poor choice.
I always wanted all the movie, like if they had a superhero movie, I always wanted the video game.
I know, I did too. Just like anything I loved watching, if I saw it as a video game, I'm like, I have to play it. And then most of the time I'd be like, oh, this is bad.
Dude, I played so much of that. They made a Constantine video game based on that Keanu Reeves movie. I played that game over and over.
I didn't realize they made a Constantine game.
Dude, was it awesome. Good? Or did you just play it just because you liked the movie so much?
I mean, I thought it was awesome. I don't know if replaying it would yield the same results or not, but such is the power of memory.
Nice. I expected at least one answer of Game Pass, so
I had to be the cliche.
I don't even think it's cliche because like that literally would blow our minds. That your parents can pay $20 a month and have over 100 games, including all the new ones, at no extra cost. Like. Games were like even in the Super Nintendo era, some of those games were $70 or $80, and the fact that you can pay a quarter of that and have 100 games, it's just would what like
you can play Voodoo Vince Remastered whenever you want.
Yeah, they're not all super winners, man. But
I know I like to pick on that game. I like to pick on that game because that's exactly what I would do if I was Phil Spencer. I'd be like,
I was gonna say Phil Spencer would have been thrilled.
We're gonna remake my favorite game right now.
Yeah. Dude, if it were up to me, we would be remaking the Lone Ranger on NES.
Mr. Parkerson, only 7 people have heard of Breakdown. Are you sure we'd remake it? Yes, top to bottom.
Breakdown. Is that the one that had something to do with the sun?
No. It was a game that was it was a time-traveling sci-fi game, but it was locked to first person the entire time. It was on the original Xbox.
Oh, I would bring back Bloody Roar. There we go.
Yeah.
I used to have a speech impediment, so that word is very difficult for me to say.
You're good.
But I love that series. I loved it as a kid. I want to bring it back.
Was Bloody Roar that wasn't a fighting game, was it?
It was, and you transformed into animals as your special move.
I wouldn't have assumed a fighting game answer here from Alyssa.
I wouldn't have either.
My uncle got me hooked on it.
I thought that was a fighting game. Kind of like Animorphs. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember Animorphs.
Those books?
Yeah.
Oh my God, wow. Would there be like 120 of those?
Oh man.
There were a lot.
I just remember the
covers,
of, like the kid like slowly transforming into the animal.
It's like with the worst computer graphics possible.
Yeah.
But at the time we were like, those are so cool.
Yeah. Oh man.
Zach, what about you?
Funny. The only thing that came to mind for me, the definitive answer, the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
That would have rocked my world because, of course, the Game Boy was great, but I could just play the exact same game I was playing on my TV wherever I go.
And in color?
Yeah, like I was going to say.
Yeah, sure.
And not all pixelated.
With a backlight?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, as a kid, that would change your life straight up.
Well,
And
especially like just the docking.
Yeah,
Like,
and you
when I
wouldn't have
can
had to put batteries in it like you did with the Game
Yeah.
Boy.
That's true.
I didn't even think
but
about that. Yeah, we used to have to
I know.
like remember
Scrounge around
playing
for
the Game
batteries.
Boy and would like slowly start to fade, and you're
Yeah.
like, uh-oh.
Like, battery time.
Dude, I would remember like playing Game Boy at night and the batteries were dying, so I'd go like steal them from the remote.
Yep.
To play. But then you have to remember to sneak them back into the remote before your parents notice.
Well, you just put the dead ones in there because the dead ones in a remote will last for a couple days more because
That's true.
they're
man.
just like, oh, the remote's dead.
I'm sure I did that a couple times, but that is a genius. That's a genius move. But yeah, dude, the Nintendo Switch, especially with, like, I'm imagining Breath of the Wild. As a kid, like, you would never need another video game. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you say that, but when we were kids, we had nothing but time.
Right, but I also think about the games like Ocarina of Time took me months to beat as a kid, and I could beat that in 4 days now. You know?
Right.
It's just your kids are dumb.
Well, plus, think
true.
about how cool it would be to pull up Nintendo Switch online for your former self
all the
and
classics.
be like, these N64 games that you're at, I can just cycle through and play them right here.
Yeah,
all these Super Nintendo games.
These games to me, they're nothing but quick reminders of the better past.
Yeah.
But I think Nintendo Switch, man, that would rock my world.
Yeah, mine was. I had a backup answer just in case somebody said Switch as well. And I think even though I don't do it as much as I do console games, I would like to go back and just show my former self games on my phone for much the same reason. I mean, I understand. It's one thing to look at a Switch. That's a console, right? This is a phone. I use this to call people. You know what I mean? And what was I playing on it? Final Fantasy. I mean, I can play Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8. But even like the modern games, like Marvel Snap. Imagine showing that, like, this is a phone. This is a thing I just carry around. It's not even a console. There's no buttons. There's no joysticks on it. My 8, 10, 12-year-old self would just be like, what?
Yeah, I mean, just the phone itself. It's not the Nokia brick phone. It's like, what?
Right.
We could play more than Snake.
I was going to say, we all played Snake, right?
Yeah.
And that was the coolest thing ever.
When I was a kid, I would just be like, people care about Marvel? My mind would be blown from that.
Wow.
No, I mean, I'm saying the super comic books were not big when we were kids.
Oh, no, they weren't.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
I mean, gaming wasn't big when I was a kid until the Pokemon craze.
I wasn't dunking on Marvel. Just to clarify.
No, I know. I took a step back for a second because I thought you were, then I realized.
Yeah. Nobody cares.
Like,
we just know how much you love DC.
Yeah.
You're goddamn right.
Even more than your family.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, family.
No hesitation. None whatsoever.
That's just how it is.
They'll
get over it.
I had another backup. I think just showing my older self or younger self rather, downloading games, like just being able to go onto a console and cycle through a store, purchase a game with a credit card, and then just be able to play it in about 10 minutes would have blown my mind. Because like Alyssa was talking about, we had to save up and buy a game, 4 times a year or something if we were lucky. But even then you had to go to the store. You had to go pull a tag off of the thing at Toys R Us, take it to the back counter, get the guy to retrieve the game for you, keep your fingers crossed that they actually did have it in stock.
Oh, yeah. Oh, when they didn't have it
I never
in stock,
had Toys R Us, so my experience was just Walmart and Kmart. You went to the back, the games were behind the glass, you stood there for 20 or 30 minutes waiting for an associate to come, and then they would finally unlock the case and be like, which game you want? And you pointed to the one you wanted, and then you finally got to check out.
Right, then you gotta go pay for it. You gotta go out to your car. Yeah, well, you had to get a ride to the store, right? Because we weren't old enough to drive.
Yeah, your parents had to take you.
So then you finally get home, you unwrap the game, and then you have that, like, fear, is this a good game?
Yeah.
Is this going to be a good game?
You unwrap the game in the car, and you read the instruction manual the whole way home.
Oh, yeah, that too. And the smell of the game when you open it.
Yeah.
Dude, when you open up the box. And
I couldn't do it in the car, because I get car sick if I read.
Oh, mostly. Okay.
But yeah,
like you say, Alyssa, for downloading games, I think Alyssa and I are young enough to where, like, oh yeah, you could do that you could go steal a game off the internet.
Yeah,
you could torrent PC games back in my day.
I could not do that. But so yeah, just being able to show younger me that you can go on, actually, like, even back up a little bit and just like, you can download a demo. Go try the game for free before you decide if you want to buy it. I mean, we don't really have that too often now, right?
No, sadly.
But yeah, the fact that I can just go to a store, look for a game, I can watch a trailer for it right here. You know, because instead of just the back of a box with still images, I can actually watch somebody play it for 40 seconds and, have this cool, ad for this game. Because even video game commercials were kind of rare back when we were kids. We got one every once in a while, and as soon as they did, it'd be like, everybody stop. I got to watch this commercial. You know what I mean? Now I can just go watch it before I play it or buy it. And then 10 minutes later, I don't have to worry about going to the store. I have to worry about ordering it from somewhere and having them ship it to me in a few days. I can play it right now. Just, that's really cool. So, anything else from pop culture, like movies, TV shows, comics, etc., that you'd also like to take back with you to your former self?
Oh man, that's such a bigger question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I guess I would probably. I mean, I feel like this is such an obvious answer to me. But I feel like, I'd take back a Zack Snyder's version of Justice League or Batman v Superman. I'd be like, hey, they're going to do it. They're going to nail it.
Yeah.
There's going to come a day where Batman and Superman are going to fight each other on a screen, and you're going to love it.
All right. Alyssa?
Honestly, I'd probably just take manga to my younger self because it's so hard to find a lot of manga now because it goes out of print, and I would have been like, collect this earlier. You'll thank me later. It'll become valuable. Especially some of those shoujo beat titles. But yeah, I wish I would have gotten to that sooner than high school. But I didn't start collecting till recently.
Nice. For me, and I know Zach won't relate to this, but I would love to take back to me and show me Spotify.
Oh yeah, that means nothing to me.
Yeah, I know you don't listen to music, but I used to listen to music like crazy when I was a kid. And, having to buy an entire CD just to hear one song that you wanted and then hope that the rest of it was good.
Yeah.
Or buy the single, or God forbid, subscribe to the Columbia House Record Club. I did that once. That was a mistake.
Or you buy the cassette tape and hope it doesn't get eaten by the player.
That too. Now I can just pull up, not every single song, but it's hard to not find a song on Amazon, Apple, Spotify, or even just go listen to it on YouTube. You know what I mean? It's not going to be the best quality, but you're going to hear the song. I'm old enough that I used to have a blank cassette in the cassette recorder while the radio was playing on the off chance that the song I really liked was going to come on, and I could hit record and put that and then transfer it from that tape to another tape on, of my favorite songs. Man, I was a dork in the 80s, but yeah, Spotify, just type in the name. There it is. Hit play, and it's automatically coming out of my ears. My mind would have exploded when I was a kid.
Thank God you grew out of being a dork, huh?
I did. I absolutely did not. I absolutely did not. Dude, I had one of those CD wallet things that held 4 to a page.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They talk about us texting while we're driving. Me flipping through.
Yeah,
looking for a CD and dropping it in the CD player in my car probably caused way more accidents than in my adult years, or not caused them, but could have caused them. So, all right, that was a fun topic. Well, let's get and see what the community thought about this one. Starting on Facebook, Zach, we are going to start with you.
Sure thing. Brent Murray writes in, I remember when my bestie and his younger brother got the N64 and we were all struggling with a new controller, but awed by Mario running around in 3D space. We all exclaimed that we were certain that this was the best graphics we would have ever seen. Considering our flabbergasted young selves, I think I would have liked to show Mario Odyssey or perhaps Breath of the Wild. I'm certain our minds would have been blown by Link adventuring through modern-day Hyrule.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I remember how blown away we all were by Mario 3D, right?
Of course, yeah. I mean, so many times in your life you had the moment of this is as good as it's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're like, how can it get better? And then it gets better.
Right. Oh my God, Knights of the Old Republic, they look like real people.
I remember thinking that about Final Fantasy VII during the cutscenes. Like,
yeah,
those
I
look
bet
those look like real people. It's never gonna get better than this.
they like square hands.
No. Well, that was in the actual game. I'm talking
No,
about
I
like
know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
they're like, I'm just picturing like these blocks that they're holding up like this and having a conversation. Barrett shaking his fists at their boxes. So good. That was a good call, Brent. Alyssa.
Scott Bors writes, so I am old, and if I could show 1994 me, who was a junior in high school, Xbox Game Pass, my head may have exploded. At that time, I had the Sega Channel, which was a device that cable companies had that you could play games. It never worked, it was a great idea, but technology wasn't where it needed to be. Flash forward to now, and Xbox Game Pass is kinda like what the Sega Channel was supposed to be, but Game Pass actually works.
Good call. I didn't even
Dude,
know
I wish I
Sega
was-
Channel was a thing.
I didn't either.
I wish I was alive for the Sega Channel.
Yeah.
Because just like what a fun piece of history that would have been to interact with. Because I think they had games that were Sega Channel exclusives, if I remember right.
Man, I'm gonna have to do some digging. If they were, 'cause is that the only place you could play them? There's not like physical copies of them out there in the wild.
I think they've since been ported off. But I feel like I remember this, and you'd have to wait for the next time the game was on the Sega Channel, right? Because you had to pick up where your save was, but you couldn't play it until it was on the Sega Channel again.
Oh man, that just sounds
If
like
I-
such a bizarre world to be in '94.
If I'm remembering correctly, maybe I'm somehow mixing it up with something else, but I don't know, dude. That sounds like a fun piece of history to me.
Yeah, I agree. Sean Coates, writes. Oh, by the way, Sean texted me earlier today. He went to that Korean barbecue place.
Dude,
that
yeah,
we
he
went
texted
to.
me too.
Did he?
The Korean barbecue place. Oh,
He said
man.
he actually liked it. So, yeah,
Maybe we were
maybe
bad
we're the
part.
weirdos.
You guys have to tell me the story. I don't know what the story is. I just keep hearing about this Korean barbecue place. So
We went to E3, and Sean Coates was kind enough to pick us up from the airport, and I kind of drove us around when we needed it to. Because the first time we did E3, we spent like $50 just to get from the
oh no,
from the airport to like where we were staying, and Zach really liked Korean barbecue, so he took us to a Korean barbecue place. I think he chose it because it was like right across the street from a retro game store, which he also attended.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I got some good Green Lantern comics there.
Did you? Nice.
Yeah, from the video game store.
So I was not a big fan of it. I had never had Korean barbecue, so I didn't know how to tell if it was good or not good Korean barbecue. I don't think Zach was super impressed either, but Sean liked it. So
I was not impressed. And also, I love Korean barbecue is okay, but it's just regular Korean food is what I love.
Okay. I'm going to have to find, I don't know if we have Korean food in Rockford, but
I'll get you. One day I'll take care of you.
I need to try some Korean food.
Yeah. Anyway, Sean writes in and says, I would show myself Super Mario Maker. When I was a kid, I used to draw my own crude levels of Mario games with crayons on construction paper or with finger paint. So the idea of showing my young self a Mario game where I can make an actual level with actual Mario assets, play the level, change the graphic style on the fly, oh yeah, and then upload it to the World Wide Web and have other people play the level that I created. Mind blown. That's a good call. Although I haven't dabbled too much in Mario Maker, I could totally see the appeal for a lot of people.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I used to love level editors in games.
Yeah. I feel like Mario Maker has now just become people making the most difficult levels possible that just seem impossible. Most difficult levels possible that are just incredibly difficult to master. Like doing things in Mario games that I don't even understand or can't wrap my head around how you're able to do that. You know what I'm talking about? You see those things on Twitter and stuff?
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, those are the ones that get shared on Twitter and Twitch. I'm sure if it's just like a really well-developed Mario level, people just play it and go like, wow, that was great, and then probably move on.
Right. Never
But
played
I don't
again.
think, kids are tuning into Twitch to see a guy scream and throw his controller,
You're right. Right.
Kids like loud noises.
Yeah.
They do.
All right, Zach.
I think it's cool that Sean used to draw out his levels and stuff, though. I used to draw out little Indiana Jones comics where it would be on a grid and he'd have to make his way through all the traps and stuff.
Oh,
don't you wish you still had that kind of stuff?
No, I just wish I exercised my imagination in the same way.
I wish you still had it because I want to see it now.
I'm sure they're in a dump somewhere.
Aw.
But Paul Hine writes in, to the 5-year-old kid who sat on Santa's lap at the mall and argued with him, no, I want a full-size one that you can land in the driveway.
I love
And
it.
explained he wanted an X-Wing for Christmas. I would show that kid X-Wing Squadrons in VR. I cheered up the first time I was able to fire that up and look around the cockpit and even behind, checking for the marks at 210. 5-year-old me would have freaked out and cried for joy for a week straight.
That's a good call.
Aw.
I haven't played Squadrons in VR, but yeah. As a
Yeah,
Star
I'm not
Wars
a-
nerd like me, man, that would have been great.
Even as a kid, I never really was blown away by even the concept of VR, so it probably wouldn't have that effect on me.
Mm.
But I could
Yeah.
see it though.
All right, moving on to Discord. Alyssa, you are up.
Mark Zemansky writes, picture it. It's 1987. I've just saved up enough money through a paper route to buy the NES. It's my favorite thing in the world for several years. Suddenly, this 40-something shows up and hands me a Switch. I get to see the
Yeah.
future of Mario through Mario Odyssey. I get to see that having younger brother syndrome is real, and Luigi's Mansion 3 will be a future favorite. But most of all, past me will be blown away at the size of the cartridge, in air quotes, and that save codes are unnecessary.
Yeah, cartridges were
Yeah,
know,
they were
big,
They
and now
were
they're
big,
like
yeah.
you could swallow them.
Right. Game Boy cartridges weren't that big, but
they were still
but-
chunky though.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're still bigger than Switch cartridges, obviously.
Do you ever wonder why we never hear stories about kids swallowing game cartridges? I feel like when the Switch first came out, I always kind of assumed that there would just be news stories all over
There
the
was, like,
place.
When the Switch came out, people would actually like lick the
I
little thing
remember
and
that.
post it on like
This-
YouTube.
Oh my god, yeah, because Kotaku and Polygon would like write articles about how bad Switch games taste. So it was like, this is a real waste of everybody's time.
Well, I
I
think
know.
it was on purpose. They
They did it so
purposely
kids wouldn't.
coded them in something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean,
so
I
maybe
still,
that's why we don't have to worry about it.
but
yeah.
still, kids are kids, and they're going to
Yeah.
put something in
Kids
their
are dumb.
mouth and eventually swallow it. And I've never heard one story about
Maybe
about a kid
it's so
swallowing it.
common that we don't hear about it at all.
Maybe.
Maybe it's just happening every day out there.
Yeah.
Or maybe kids are kids are dumb, obviously, but maybe they're smart enough to be like, if I swallow this, Mario goes away.
Yeah, I can't play it anymore if it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's what it is. Speaking of, I lost my copy of Mario Kart 8.
Did you eat it?
No. I didn't eat it, but it has been missing since last school year. Like no
Oh,
joke,
no.
last
Stole
school
it?
year. And I keep I take my Switch with me to school every day in case we have indoor recess or whatever. I have it set up for the kids in my classroom with a TV. And but that game just wound up missing, and I just assumed I lost it. Like I said, that was last school year. And lo and behold, one of my fifth graders they're now fifth graders. They were fourth grade in my class last year. Came up to me and said, "Mr. Clark, we found this on the floor in the hallway. Is this yours?" And it was a copy of Mario Kart 8. And I was like, "Dude, I have been looking for this for months. How did that happen?" So
Dude, that kid 100% stole it last year and is now bringing it back.
yeah, see, I
The
didn't,
excuse of I found it in the hall.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what it is. Oh man, I can't believe I found this outside.
that's funny. I didn't consider that. I considered that somebody else stole it and dropped it, and then he found it.
No, I
My
would
assumption
totally
is-
use the I found
yeah.
it in the hall excuse.
Yeah, I think he stole it and maybe he's got his own copy for Christmas or something. Or
And he felt bad.
so now he's like, hey, I can bring this back to Mr. Clark. But then he's like, well, I can't tell him the truth, obviously. So he's like, dude, you will never believe what I found out in the hallway.
Man, now that you're saying that, now I'm like,
Makes a
man,
lot
that
of
makes
sense,
a lot
right?
more sense.
Yeah.
So
well,
yeah, I
that's fine.
keep
You can't-
my Switch case a lot more guarded now than I did last year. So
So you can't, I was going to say, you can't get mad at the kid. He did the right thing eventually.
eventually,
that's what
Yeah,
matters.
eventually.
I just
Hey,
I
man,
felt
you gotta believe in second chances.
I mean, he could
I mean,
have
the only
kept it
reason
forever.
the only reason I bought Mario Kart 8 was to have in my classroom because I don't really like playing Mario Kart anymore. I'm not gonna lie, I just don't like
Yeah,
it.
I'm with you.
And buying another copy, those games don't go on sale very often. So I was very happy to get that back. Anyway, another comment on Discord comes from Alan Scheck, who says, surely someone will mention VR for obvious reasons, so I'll talk about my second choice, which is mobile gaming. There you go. We've got a pretty decent looking Android iOS games. We've got fully mobile consoles. And we've got local and online game streaming. The last couple of nights, as I've been lying in bed streaming Red Dead Redemption 2 from my PC to my 1080p OLED phone with backbone-style controller, I have definitely imagined walking up to my 7-year-old self playing Pokemon Red on Game Boy and giving him a taste of the future. That's a great, I didn't even think about that, just streaming games to your phone. Like,
dude, him talking about this right now just blew my mind.
Yeah.
I know, I'm like, what?
Red Dead 2 while you're going to bed? Oh man, that's pretty cool there.
Yeah. Although I'd fall asleep in a second.
Because of how boring Red Dead 2 is?
No, I'm not saying it's that boring, but like there's a lot of riding on your horse and
that's funny.
I don't know, bathing and stuff like that in that game. That's
hey Dutch, we got money, right? Oh yeah, just have a little faith. Okay.
I got a plan.
10 minutes later, hey Dutch, we need money. Oh, you just gotta have faith.
I love your impersonation, Zach.
Thanks. That's what I remember that game.
That was actually the
30 hours.
The last extra life I did with the EXP cast. I played Red Dead Redemption 2 for almost the entire time. I made a good distance in that game, and I just stopped caring.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people love that game, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, but
dude,
I got bored.
I was over the moon excited for that game.
So was I.
I used to joke about it. It was the last game we would ever need in the industry.
I remember that too.
Yeah. But I was wrong.
All right, last one. Zach.
Kevin Honigford, Sonic Trader, says, just one? Oof, well, I guess I'll be that someone. I got Sega Visions when I was younger and was absolutely fascinated with what they had advertised as a Sega VR. It never came to fruition, but from that moment, I wondered how fascinating it would be to be in the world of a game. Now VR is a thing, and I've since discovered it gives me motion sickness, so I live vicariously through my boys. On the other side of the coin, cloud saves and remote playing are things I never saw coming that have changed my gaming world. Maybe as a kid you had better fortitude, you could survive VR without motion sickness.
I feel your pain, Kevin. I could not have, because even as a child, I would get motion sickness, so
yeah,
I understand the pain.
I remember there being virtual reality setups at like state fairs and stuff when I was a kid. I know I'm a lot younger than you guys, but I always wanted to try them so bad. And from what I've heard, people that have actually experienced those, they are nothing. But they were massive setups, like in these huge arenas that you had to wear these goggles, and it was barely a game. And I did play the Virtual Boy a little bit when I got older, and that was terrible. But yeah, and VR is getting a lot larger with the kids these days with like the Quest, and whoever can afford the PSVR 2 when it comes out still can't get over the price of that thing.
$550, right?
Yep.
$550, $600 if you want Horizon with it. And you have to have a PS5.
Right. Yeah, so it's yeah, and I'm sure the cost of the PS5 will rise any day now in America.
It's literally more than the console.
Yes, it's going to be a $1,200 buy-in.
I don't know. Anyway, but yeah. And the fact that you can get a VR headset now for $300, like brand new. Like the latest, not the latest because the PSVR, like we said, is $550, but the Quest 2, $300. Like, that would have blown our minds. Not to mention how much better it was than anything we had when we were kids. So,
right.
There you have it. That was a fun topic, guys. Thanks for indulging me. I didn't know if that was going to go over as well as it did. I had a lot of fun discussing that one. So stay tuned to our social media platforms for next week's topic, which has yet to be determined. But if you'd like to call in, nobody calls in, but the number is area code 347-746-2278. If you'd like to say hello or maybe leave a voicemail message, we even have an easy way to remember it. 3477-GO-CAST. That is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Stick around. We've got our recommendations. I want to remind everybody before we do that The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas. All the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. And before we sign off for the night, Zach, any parting words or recommendations before we get out of here?
Go Titans Season 4 just premiered, and it is fire.
Yeah?
Which is good, because Titans has not always been a very good show, but I've loved it anyway. but these first 2 episodes of season 4 are legitimately great.
Awesome.
And they will they take some bold swings, especially with like Lex Luthor and stuff. But yeah, it's a pretty easy show to recommend right now, which is awesome. And actually, the show is kind of a grim, dark superhero take thing, but the Titans are actually all getting along and feel like a family, which so they actually feel like the Teen Titans finally. So it only took until season 4 for the Teen Titans to show up on Titans, but they're there, and it's really nice to see.
Very cool. Alyssa, how about you?
I watched the Selena Gomez documentary, My Mind and Me, and it's just it's a unique documentary because it's not charting her career really. It's pretty much just centering on how fame and certain parts of her career impact her mental health, and it shows her struggling with bipolar disorder, depression, and anxiety, and also with lupus, which is an autoimmune disorder. But it just feels like you're watching something really raw and vulnerable. And if you go through those things, you relate to it. But I was just impressed with how she was willing to show that side of herself, because some of the times she doesn't appear to be very likable just because it is her mental health, flaring up and she's going through a stressful time. And I think that's really admirable for her to show. And the documentary also gives you resources if you need help. But I was really impressed by how they handled it, and I really enjoyed watching it.
Very cool. What was the name of it again?
Selena Gomez, My Mind and Me.
My Mind and Me. Very cool. For me, we're all recommending a TV show or movie at this point. I've got a movie recommendation that I could not wait until this came out, and I finally watched it this weekend. And you're gonna laugh at me, but Weird, which is the movie about
the Al Yankovic story.
Al Yankovic story. Yeah, it's called Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Guys, go watch this.
Dude, I want to see it so bad. It looks so good.
Okay, you plan on watching it?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, because oh man, it's so hard because it is.
What is going on?
It is something that is so brilliant, but ridiculous at the same time. Have you seen a trailer for it?
Yes, it's obviously not Weird Al's life at all.
No,
right?
I know
looks
that
like
much.
It's a parody of biopics.
Okay,
right?
So you have seen a different trailer than I did. The trailer that I saw portrayed it as a straight up biopic film. Like it is a story about Weird Al's life. They cut it in such a way that made it seem like the things, like there were all these tragic things that happened in his life and all this and that. You're absolutely right. This movie is not a biopic. It is a parody of Weird Al's life, which is the most brilliant
thing. Exactly. It's the most brilliant way to do a Weird Al bio. It's the only way to do a Weird Al biopic is to make a parody of
he
biopics.
wrote it himself.
And it is bonkers, guys. It is so over the top bonkers, and I won't spoil anything, but when you guys watch this, I need you to text me and tell me because I need to talk to people about this. It is so insanely hilarious. But keep in mind, I didn't know that that's what this movie was. I went into it thinking it was a biopic about Weird Al.
Okay.
And remember that when you watch it, because I did not pick up on what was going on until I was about 20 minutes into this movie, and I was like, that really happened? There's no way that happened. There's none of this makes any sense. This can't be real.
Dude, I can't wait.
And then it clicked. And it finally clicked with me, and I just I was able to lean into it, and it's glorious. It's so glorious. Especially,
I look forward to it.
I won't spoil what makes it funny, but his version of how he wrote the parody of Michael Jackson's "Beat It" is one of the most freaking fantastic things I've ever seen. That whole sequence is outstanding.
And no matter what, it'll be more believable than Queen coming up with the stomping riff of "We Will Rock You" in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Possibly. Also, when you watch it, listen to the song during the credits. Just trust me. Listen to the song during the credits.
I really gotta watch this movie.
And it's free.
It seems like a treat, man.
You can watch it for free. It's on Roku.
Right. Is that it? Can you download Roku? It's a Roku channel, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
I don't know.
there
I don't have a
is.
Roku TV, but there is a Roku app. I was able to watch it for free
Okay.
on
Got
my
it.
phones. Like I assume you can cast it. I haven't tried. Obviously, you can cast
Were
it to
there-
a Roku,
wait.
but
Were there commercials during it or no?
no, there was not a single commercial. They just straight up
Fascinating.
want you to watch this movie.
Yeah. Well,
And-
I mean, I assume it's basically just like, yeah, I don't know. It's a smart marketing move because I'm going to download the Roku channel for the first time ever.
Yeah. And they actually send you a follow-up email. Hey, we see you signed up and you watched Weird and blah blah blah. Here's some promo information. So
Oh my god, dude, I can't. I'm really looking forward to this movie.
it's great. Oh, and I
Well,
didn't even mention.
I assumed it was because the trailer I saw, he was like dating Madonna. I was like, there's no way Weird Al dated Madonna.
who, by the way, is played by Evan Rachel Wood.
Wood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't think she's ever been hotter than she has been in this movie. And I've seen Westworld. Like she
Yeah.
pulled off the Madonna look like you would not believe. But I didn't even mention it. Daniel Radcliffe plays Weird Al, which when I first heard that, I was like, what? Dude, he freaking nails it.
He's a funny guy.
He's a seriously talented actor. Anyway, I spent way too much time talking about Weird, the Al Yankovic story, but
I
go
disagree,
check it
man.
out.
I talk about it just the right amount.
I
I feel like we're in the Hollywood Outsider for a minute.
oh, it's so good. Fantastic. Anyway, until next week, I am Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Alyssa White, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.